Hello everybody, welcome to Dave Doing Stuff, the Blacksmith series. I have to get a better name for this. I'm not sure just how I'm going to do it, but I want to be a blacksmith. I did it once last fall and I know I want to do it, and I have to have a blacksmith shop here on my property because I'm the kind of guy that likes to have things close by. But I live in town. I live in a converted church, and behind me there's a 6-story condominium building. I don't know if you can see it or not. I live on a relatively main street. Noise is going to be an issue, both me making it and trying to record videos because it's a busy street. Smoke's going to be an issue. Space is an issue. So I've decided the best that I can hope for, rather than a blacksmith shop, is to build a blacksmith closet. And I'm inviting you to come with me because I think this might work. Now, I got excited at the beginning, and I lost the video that I shot initially. So the blacksmith closet is 6 feet wide and 2 feet deep. I dug 4 holes and put 4 posts in, and I filmed that, but I lost it. So let's get started, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. Welcome to Dave Doing Stuff, the Blacksmith series. I've never been a blacksmith, but if you, like me, have an interest in being one, come on along for the ride. We're going to learn together. This should be a lot of fun, and hopefully we won't burn anything. Okay, that's not going to work. Here we are, coming around to the Urban Blacksmith Shop. I have the 4 posts set now. I pulled out all the organic material from underneath and filled it up with gravel. And then I hosed it down regularly for 4 or 5 days, and it rained a couple times for some good compaction. And today I am hoping to form up the base so I can get some concrete poured in there. Doesn't look like much, but that's all I got. Let's see how we do. And here is the concrete pad poured and screeded. I got busy and excited and tired and forgot to turn the camera on, but I just mixed up the cement and poured in the box and leveled it off on top. I'm going to leave it kind of rough because it really doesn't mean anything, so I'm going to leave it a little bit rough and just leave it the way it is. Let it sit for a couple days, come back. And here we are today, returning to the blacksmith closet. Got the concrete pad poured. I left a little ledge here so that the patio slabs could come back in and sit on that ledge, so there wouldn't be a void. I was afraid of a step occurring here. So anyway, that should work out there. I've got all the framework done, ready for the siding, and the siding came in. So that's what we're doing today. It'll be galvanized metal on the inside to line the inside of the closet, and then we'll see where we go from there. And here's the inside lined. Worked out pretty well. I got 3 sheets. This is going to be the forged side, so I carry the siding closer to the edge. Whatever was left over is what was left over at this end of the guy. I'm going to build it in somehow and hide it. So I think we're ready to go. That looks all right. So I'm framing up the door. The plan is to have the door hinge on this side and open the full width to create an L-shaped working area, and then with a roof over it. So the first I have to put the door on, and then I have to figure out the roof part. I'm going to make the door as light as I can, but I do want plywood on the inside of it. So we'll go from there. Well, it's about 30 degrees out here today, and I got excited, and I forgot to turn the camera on. So this is the closet. This is the door. The door will close off. I would have another piece of plywood here, obviously. The roof is going to come down in front. So I will lift the roof up, open the door. This is how I put together the door and the roof assembly. This is one of the 4x4 posts at the front of the shed. I made the mistake of cutting it off originally with the slope of the roof. I should have left it square, so I made another wedge up to square it up again, and then I put a 2x6 on top of that and an angle iron to become part of the hinge. The door is 2x4 framing on the flat with 1/2-inch plywood on the inside face, so when the door is open, the plywood is on the inside of my work area. For the roof itself, I framed it this way. I put a 1x6 for the side rail, and then a 2x4 on its flat, set back 1.5 inches from the front, so the siding would be flush with the face of the 1x6. In this space, behind the 2x4 is where the door is going to fit. So it looks like this. And then at the top, on the inside of the 1x6, I mounted a 2x6 that I could put the other angle iron on for the hinge. So when it's assembled, it'll look like this. The roof will come down and completely hide the door and secure the door. If I put a pin in the hinge, hopefully this is going to work. When the roof opens, it'll be like this. The door will swing open, door will swing closed, roof will come back down, hiding everything. That's the plan. Now, one of my biggest challenges, and maybe one of your biggest challenges too, is finding a place to do stuff. I don't have a workshop, I don't have a workbench. It's always a challenge. So in this case, I need to hold the steel still while I cut it. And so I got a couple of cement blocks, put a piece of wood between them. I clamp the wood to the blocks, and I'm going to clamp the steel to the wood. Now to cut the steel. And honestly, I don't have any idea just what to expect from this. I don't have cutting torches. They kind of scare me. I'm a carpenter. And some research online told me that a reciprocal saw might be a good option. So I picked up 2 steel blades. One has 10 points per inch. The other one has 24 points per inch. I'll come back to that in just a minute. The second choice would be my angle grinder with a cutting wheel on it. I'm sure that would do the job, but I'm also sure it would be very loud and it would be really sparky, and I'm not sure how straight I could do 4 cuts. I could probably get by okay. My third choice would be a cutting wheel and a chop saw. Now, I don't have a metal cutting chop saw, I just have my carpenter's chop saw. This wheel will fit, but I'm not sure if my saw is heavy enough to be able to cut through a piece of 3x3 angle. It might be too light for that. It would probably work for smaller pieces, but it might not work too well with the heavier steel. So this is what I'm going to try first. Now, when I was researching the saw blades for cutting steel, it was suggested that fewer points per inch made a better cut. That's why I'm coming back to this. I got my 24 points per inch and my 10 points per inch. I'll do one with each and just see which works better. Holding the work still is one of the most important and one of the most difficult things to be able to do, but it's really critical you do it if you want to cut more than one piece the same size. In this case, I only had 4 cuts to make, so I really didn't spend a lot of time building a platform, and it showed. It was a wiggly, jiggly mess to begin with. That first one was with the 24-point saw blade. I've switched it to the 10-point to see if it makes a difference. Let's check it out. Now, having the lesser teeth made a heck of a difference. They cut much easier and much faster with fewer teeth. So there's something I'll remember. The way it's going to work is
This piece will mount on top of the shed, and this piece will mount on the door. And there'll be a hole, a bolt that goes through to connect the two of them. When the door comes up, that's what'll happen. So what I'm going to have to do is I have to take a little out of this corner to make sure I get the clearance, and a little out of this corner on the shed piece to make sure I get the clearance. So I have two pieces opposite each other. I can't take the same corner out of both because it won't work. Now, if you're doing this, you have to be a little bit mindful because you have to cut out the right corner. They're not necessarily reversible. So I've got this as the front of the gate, or the front of the roof. This part will attach to the roof panel. It'll go like this. So I need to have this corner out, and on the post I need to have this corner out. At the opposite end though, it's different because I want this bracket inside of the gate. So I just can't take that pair and bring them down here, so they're reversed from each other. Hope that makes sense. You just have to be a little bit careful. Well, I found that the saw didn't work for these corners where the hoot. It was just too small a piece to be able to hold down properly. So I went and got my vise, and I just screwed it to this board, clamped the board to a cement block, and got out my trusty angle grinder.
Now, I'm going to do this in real time, just so you can see how long it actually takes to knock off one of these corners. I have only used this grinder a couple of times. I haven't cut a lot of metal, and so if you're a person who really doesn't know too much about this, this is how it works. Now, you absolutely need ear protection because it's loud, and you absolutely need eye protection because there's sparks flying all over the place. Now, this was a hot day, about 30 degrees plus Celsius, and there was an air warning because of the forest fires in northern Ontario, so I had a lot of protective gear on, but that was okay because mounting these hinges couldn't be easier. I just put a spacer on the top of the shed. I marked the top with a spacer so that I know which way's up in case it's not a square piece of wood. And then the first angle iron, I just put it on the roof section with the resting on the spacer. That way I know it's parallel to the top of the shed. And then it's just a matter of putting in the 3 anchors. And I used 3/16 inch and a quarter lag bolts. You could use anything. I just wanted something heavy enough that was going to hold the weight of the door over time. For the second hinge, I put it on top of the shed, used the same spacer off of the roof section, and just pulled it over until the flange of both angle irons were parallel and touching each other. Then I know it's going to work fine. And then it's just a matter again of dropping in the anchors into the top of the shed in this case, and then the hinge is installed. All that's missing is the pin for it to rotate on, and to install that, I measured an arbitrary distance off of the shed roof and off of the roof section, and drilled a hole. Once the hole was drilled, I put in the bolt. Those hinges are done, both sides the same. Okay, so this is coming along really, really well. I have the roof on it. The next chore is to put the steel on the roof. Before I do that though, I'm going to put a little chips and dust in front of it just so it can start compacting and get ready for me to finish off the patio up against the new slab. So just chalk this one up to Dave's an idiot. I ordered 2 sheets of green for the roof, but I didn't even notice. They sent me 3. They sent me 3. That explains an awful lot. Well, it's gone about as far as it can go for now. Let me demonstrate this. I love it. Just love it. Check this out. When I'm forging, I will be forging some kind of a mechanical way to lock it. It'll be locked at the bottom. I'll have to figure that part out. I'll also be forging some kind of a handle for the bottom of it as well. But for now, this will work. The door will have a mechanical fastening system as well. Right now I've just got a screw. And there it is. A blacksmith closet. Now, I'm going to have, I'm imagining I'll have a shelf across here that'll be a height that'll allow my anvils to slide underneath. So I've got to, now after this, I've got to put my anvil, one of the anvils on a block, and see how much room I have. The forge is going to be about here. There'll be a bench, anvils, and maybe other stuff under here. There'll be a vise. I'll have some shelves, a hood for the fire, and on this wall I'm imagining things hanging. I'll get my anvil out, put it here, maybe a second anvil out, put it there. I'll be able to forge and be able to work in this corner. I think it's going to work really well. If I find I need to a little more shelter, I'm going to maybe get a tarp or something to hang from the faces here if I need it. But I'm really pleased with this. This is looking pretty good. And you saw it here. Now we'll put it away. And putting it away is just the reverse of putting it up, opening it up. At some point, when I'm forging, I'm going to forge some kind of a U-channel or something for the roof to sit on the door so that it can't come off. Something to hold those two together. That'll be easily done. I'll forge a locking mechanism for the door, so I just have to swing it shut and it'll latch. Because it doesn't need to be locked. Once the roof's down and the roof's locked, then everything is secure anyway. So a latch for the door, and then a locking mechanism for the roof, and I'll be in business. Oh, the other thing here that I want to just share with you is I hung the doors in such a way that the door in such a way that it will close by itself to a degree. So closing it is much easier than opening it. Check this out. the door. All I have to do is lift. And it closes. So I should just be able to and have it latch. But for now I have to screw it shut. Pretty cool.